Come on. Come on. Keep talking. Is it muted?
Hello, everyone. Welcome today. Thank you all for being here today to pay respect and honor to our veterans. I want to welcome all of you, students and public, and also those of you tuning in on the internet. Grandpa, if you're out there, welcome to you as well. We're going to start today with the posting of the colors and the Star Spangled Banner, so please rise.
Sarah, turn the mains down there. We're going to start that again, Connie, okay? I'm going to turn this on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
You may be seated.
I'm sorry. We're adapting here. We're adapting.
So our next piece is going to be the Armed Forces Salute. I always really enjoyed when I go to the Marine Band concerts and they do a piece like this or this piece. It really gives a nice opportunity for our veterans to stand and be recognized by their branch of the service. So as we perform this, I will call out the branch of the service, and if you served and are able to stand, we ask that you please stand and be recognized during that portion of the piece. Please enjoy the Armed Forces Salute. Coast Guard. Marine. Next, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Sergeant Justin Isom, and we thank him here for being here today, and he'll tell you a little bit about himself as he gets up here. Sergeant Isom.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I am Sergeant Justin Isom, just as he said. I'm your active duty, I am an active duty soldier in the United States Army. I'm also on assignment as your active and reserve recruiter, so if you have questions, let me know. I have been in the Army for about 8 years now, and I'm honored to be here today to talk to you about the significance of Veterans Day and what it means for all of us as American citizens. So first, I want to get some few things out of the way here. So I often see people confuse Veterans Day with Memorial Day. And other than it being a little colder outside, there are some major differences to note. So on Memorial Day, we honor and mourn the loss of those service members who paid the ultimate price in defense of our great country. We all know that. And while we can never forget those that have given everything, on Veterans Day, we celebrate the commitments and daily sacrifices of the brave men and women, past and present, that have raised their right hand and sworn to defend our nation. We are grateful to them and the peace they afford us. Any person that has chosen to serve in the armed forces is a military veteran, regardless of their experiences, branch of service, job, rank, race, gender, creed, age, or any other preference. We must not forget these unsung heroes. I'd like to take a moment, if you guys would help me out. Please raise your hand if you or somebody you know, family or friends, has ever served or is currently serving in any branch of the armed forces. Please raise your hand. Holy cow, that's way more than I thought. Okay, that's awesome. Look around. Everybody here is affected by the paths of our veterans and the paths that they've chosen. Okay, now please put your hand back up as you know somebody that's currently serving. Awesome. Now put up your second hand. Now raise your root. All right, put your hands down. Today is a day of celebration and gratefulness for our veterans. It's not just about being mournful, right? So keep that in mind as we continue on here. No matter what uniform they wear or wore, what job they do or did, what rank they hold or held, our veterans deserve to be celebrated. The sacrifices that these brave men and women have made, sometimes daily, can easily be taken for granted, and we recognize them today. Obviously, I'm a little partial to the Army, but I recognize that all branches in the military serve a crucial role in protecting our country. We all have friends and family, as we've just seen here, that have served or are currently serving in every branch. The Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Space Force, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and of course the Army. Now it can be hard to identify a veteran sometimes. Of course, when in uniform, that's super easy, right? But when off duty or even no longer serving, it can be easy to mistake these veterans as normal, everyday people. I'd like to share a little secret about that. They are normal, everyday people. Although our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians may seem superhuman at times, they are just like you and I, and have all likely sat in a similar place to where you are right now, making them some of our greatest heroes and role models. These normal people have volunteered to take the torch from the previous generations and to charge headlong into anything that may come for all of us. Our military is diverse and made up of normal people from all over. Some service members are full-time soldiers running side businesses. Some are part-time airmen putting themselves through college. Some are retired. Some are teachers. Some are police officers. Some are reverends. Some are coaches, bus drivers. They are all sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers. Before I close out, I'd like to read you a pretty special letter. This recently came into my possession. This is a letter from June 7th, 1945, shortly before the end of World War II. Our author is a young lady named Mildred who had enlisted in the into the Women's Army Corps at the age of 32. She was later stationed in Pennsylvania, and being one of the only few women in the time with a driver's license, she became the driver for the commanding general at Fort Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. Okay. She writes, "Dear Mother, this is the letter we've been putting off for the past 2 weeks. And as we do not know just how you will take the news, anyway, this will be the last letter you will receive from me while in the Army, as my discharge becomes effective tomorrow, and I shall be a civilian once again. Perhaps you can guess what the cause of it is. Anyway, it will be next January, and that is one of the reasons why we won't be able to make Nebraska this summer, as I haven't been very well since it started. I shall go home to Salem for a while. My mother wants me to come home, so I've decided that was the best place until Virgil can join us. So that was Mildred. That was Mildred's letter. During her time, she occasionally worked in the Garrison Motor Pool, because she was a driver, with a tall and lanky sergeant named Virgil. They would later fall in love and get married, and even with one of the most famous conflicts in history teetering in the background, Mildred wrote this letter. It's a normal conversation from a normal lady. If you're wondering, Mildred has just shared that she is pregnant and has finished her tour of duty. After the Army, Mildred and Virgil led normal lives and started a lovely family. Her children eventually married, and their eldest had children. When those children grew up, they also had children, and 3 generations later, after my great-grandmother wrote this letter, I am proud to carry on the tradition and hope to pass the torch to my son someday. The greatest victories and freedoms our country has experienced have come from the hard work and sacrifice of normal, everyday people that we call veterans. We must not forget these unsung heroes. No matter what uniform they wear or wore, what job they do or did, what rank they hold or held, our veterans deserve to be celebrated. The sacrifices these men and women have made can easily be taken for granted, and we recognize them today. Happy Veterans Day. Do your dance.
Thank you.
Check. Thank you, Sergeant Isom, for a wonderful message. You had me going right there. I was thinking to myself, where does the Army come up with these letters and how do they get them? And the punchline was perfect. Brought a little tear to my eye. Thank you so much for that. Next, we'll be hearing, yes. Next, we'll be hearing from the high school choir as they sing the Battle Hymn of the Republic. I'd now like to introduce to you Commander Dwayne Harper from Spirit. He's going to talk to us a little bit about TAPS and the Moment of Silence and its history. Welcome, Commander Harper.
Before I say anything, I just want to express our appreciation to the high school and to the elementary school and middle school, and especially to Mrs. Leonard and Mr. Robish and the culture that you have developed in music. I mean, you guys are, to me, the best. All we have to do is watch you march down a street that would show off your talents. You guys are exceptional, and you play exceptional, and you're singing. Mrs. Leonard, this group looks so professional. They're just stellar, and so you keep getting better and better, and so we appreciate all that you do to represent your school. I personally want to thank Sergeant Isom for coming here and sharing. I think every one of us understands, especially we who are in Frontier and the veterans that are here, that war is absolutely ugly and it's the worthless thing in the world. But he pointed out that freedom is not free. And let us never forget that. And normal, everyday people protect our freedoms to where you can do anything that you want to do and go anywhere you want to go. Freedom is not free. So just never forget that. We recognize this day because it goes back to World War I, a war that was supposed to end all wars. And sadly, they say it did not. And there will be wars and rumors of wars for all of mankind, I believe, because of the selfishness and the power, greed, and everything that people have. But we recognize that wars do come to an end at time and time again. And on the 11th day of November, at the 11th hour, the armistice was signed to stop World War I. And so we recognize that time because we love peace, we don't like war. And so we recognize it. And so at this time, across the country, whether it be up at Prentice or elsewhere in Wisconsin, across all of this country, recognize this time frame to where we face to the east and we recognize the war ended and wishing that it would have been the last one. But we do recognize that this thing isn't free, that we call freedom, and it does cost. And so at this time, I'll have each of you rise. You're already facing east, but I will have the veterans here rise, and then I'll turn them about face. It isn't that they turn their backside, that they can too join in this celebration. Veteran, about face.
Thank you all once again for coming. At this time, our program is over, and we hope that you enjoy paying reverence to our veterans. Have a wonderful day.